Picture this. You're the most powerful person in the world. Armies march at your command. Entire nations bow before you. Yet every morning, you wake up and write in your personal diary, not about conquests or glory, but about how to become a better human being. This was Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor who ruled Rome at its peak. While leading an empire spanning 3 continents, he penned thoughts that would outlive his reign by 2,000 years. His private journal, never intended for publication, became one of humanity's greatest guides to inner strength. What made this emperor different? He understood something most of us miss. True power isn't controlling others, it's mastering yourself. Today, I'll share the profound wisdom that helped him navigate betrayals, plagues, wars, and the weight of absolute power while maintaining his humanity. These aren't just ancient ideas gathering dust. They're practical tools that can transform how you handle stress, relationships, and life's inevitable challenges. By the end of this journey, you'll discover why Marcus Aurelius remains the most quoted leader in history, and how his teachings can give you the unshakable peace he found amid chaos. Marcus Aurelius wrote something that cuts through modern distraction like a sword. Confine yourself to the present and examine yourself. Do not investigate what others are doing. Think about your last hour. How much mental energy did you spend scrolling through others' highlight reels? Comparing your struggles to their successes? Wondering what they think of you? The emperor understood what neuroscience confirms today. Our brains have limited cognitive resources. Every moment spent analyzing others' lives is a moment stolen from building your own. He called this the sacred duty to yourself, protecting your attention like a fortress guards its treasure. But here's the deeper truth. When you constantly measure yourself against others, you're playing a rigged game. You're comparing your internal struggles to their external presentations. You see their vacation photos, not their credit card bills. Their promotions, not their sleepless nights. Marcus faced this same temptation on a massive scale. As emperor, he could have obsessed over rival leaders, envious senators, or citizens who criticized him. Instead, he chose radical self-focus, not selfish narcissism, but the courage to work on the only person he could actually change, himself. Try this experiment. For 1 week, catch yourself whenever you start mentally measuring your life against someone else's. Instead, ask, what can I improve about my own situation right now? This simple redirect transformed an emperor's mindset. It can transform yours too. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. These words from Marcus Aurelius reveal perhaps the most liberating truth in human psychology. We don't experience reality directly. We experience our interpretation of reality. 2 people can face identical situations and have completely opposite reactions, not because the situation is different, but because their mental frameworks are different. Marcus knew this intimately. When barbarians threatened Rome's borders, he could have interpreted it as catastrophic failure. Instead, he saw it as an opportunity to demonstrate Roman virtue. When advisors betrayed him, he could have become bitter. Instead, he viewed it as a chance to practice forgiveness. This isn't positive thinking or denial. It's recognition that between any event and your response lies a space, a moment where you choose your interpretation. In that space lies your freedom. Consider your biggest current challenge. Now ask yourself, what if this situation is exactly what you need to develop qualities you lack? What if this obstacle is the raw material for your growth? Marcus faced plagues that killed millions, including his own children. He could have cursed fate. Instead, he wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This perspective didn't eliminate his pain. but it prevented the pain from eliminating his purr. Modern life drowns us in pseudo-urgencies, notifications demanding immediate responses, social obligations that serve no real purpose, activities that fill time but don't fulfill life. The emperor's approach was surgical. Identify your core responsibilities and gifts. Then protect them fiercely from everything else. This isn't selfishness, it's stewardship, where you focus your energy on what truly matters. You serve others far more effectively than when you scatter yourself across countless distractions. Start by listing everything you did yesterday. Circle only the activities that directly serve your most important goals or relationships. The uncircled items? These are opportunities for elimination. Every no to the unimportant is a yes to what matters most. Marcus proved that even emperors must choose. If the most powerful man in the ancient world needed boundaries, how much more do we? Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly. Marcus Aurelius didn't write this to be morbid. He wrote it to be free. Death consciousness isn't about being depressed or fatalistic. It's about clarity. When you truly internalize that your time is finite, trivial concerns lose their grip on you. Petty grievances seem absurd. Meaningful work becomes urgent. Marcus practiced this daily reflection while managing an empire and fighting wars. He knew that remembering death wasn't dwelling on an ending. It was celebrating a beginning, the beginning of intentional living. Steve Jobs, facing his own mortality, echoed this ancient wisdom. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. This practice transforms decision-making. Would you spend 3 hours scrolling social media if you knew it was your last day? Would you postpone that important conversation? Would you wait to pursue your dreams? The emperor didn't suggest living in constant anxiety about death. Instead, he recommended using mortality as a compass. When facing choices, ask, if I had 1 year to live, which option would I choose? This question cuts through confusion like lightning through darkness. Your ancestors lived with death as a constant companion. War, disease, and hardship made mortality undeniable. Modern life insulates us from this reality, but the insulation comes at a cost. We forget the preciousness of the time we have. Marcus found that daily death meditation didn't make him sad. It made him grateful, focused, and alive. You are stronger than your circumstances. Marcus Aurelius learned this not through theory, but through brutal experience. He lost multiple children, faced constant military threats, and dealt with personal betrayals that would crush most people's spirits. Yet, he developed what he called the citadel within, an inner fortress that external events couldn't breach. This wasn't denial or emotional numbness. It was a profound recognition that while you can't control what happens to you, you can always control what you make it mean and how you choose to respond. The emperor understood that strength isn't the absence of difficulty. It's the presence of choice within difficulty. Every challenge becomes a gym for your character. Every setback becomes a setup for growth. Think of the strongest people you know. Did they become strong by avoiding hardship or by learning to navigate it with grace? The trees that survive the strongest storms aren't the ones protected from wind. They're the ones whose roots grew deep and whose trunks learned to bend without breaking. Marcus wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate associates you." This isn't passive resignation. It's active acceptance. It's the difference between being a victim of circumstances and being a student of life. When difficulty strikes, instead of asking, "Why me?" try asking, How can this make me stronger? What qualities does this situation demand that I haven't yet developed? This shift in questioning transforms obstacles into opportunities and problems into training grounds. The emperor proved that even in the darkest circumstances, you retain the ultimate freedom, the freedom to choose your response. This choice makes you undefeatable. In the morning when thou risest unwillingly, let this thought be present. I am rising to the work of a human being. Marcus Aurelius understood that purpose isn't something you find lying around. It's something you create through understanding your unique gifts and how to serve others with them. The emperor could have defined his purpose as accumulating power or enjoying luxury. Instead, he saw his role as serving the common good. This perspective transformed duty from burden to privilege, work from drudgery to calling. Your purpose isn't necessarily grand or world-changing. It might be raising children with love, creating art that moves people, solving problems that matter, or simply bringing more kindness into everyday interactions. Purpose is less about what you do and more about how and why you do it. Marcus discovered that purpose emerges at the intersection of three circles: what you're naturally good at, what the world needs, and what energizes you. Where these three overlap, you find your unique contribution to the human story. But here's the crucial insight. Purpose isn't a destination you reach. It's a direction you travel. It's not about finding the perfect job or achieving the ultimate goal. It's about asking daily, how can I use my gifts to serve something larger than myself? The emperor wrote his meditations not for fame or legacy, but as a daily practice of alignment. He asked himself, am I living in harmony with my deepest values? Am I contributing to human flourishing? Am I becoming who I'm meant to be? Start by identifying moments when you feel most alive and useful. What activities make time disappear? What conversations energize rather than drain you? What problems do you naturally notice and want to solve? These are clues to your unique purpose. Marcus proved that even emperors need a reason to get up each morning beyond personal pleasure. Purpose provides that reason and transforms ordinary days into meaningful service. Accept the things to which fate binds you and love the people with whom fate associates you. This wasn't Marcus Aurelius suggesting passive resignation. He was revealing the secret to emotional freedom. Complaint is the most expensive luxury we can afford. It costs enormous energy while producing zero results. The emperor learned that every moment spent lamenting unchangeable circumstances is a moment stolen from improving changeable ones. But Marcus went deeper than just avoiding complaint. He discovered the practice of radical acceptance. When faced with unpleasant realities, instead of fighting what is, he asked, how can I work with this situation as it actually exists? This doesn't mean becoming a doormat or giving up on positive change. It means distinguishing between what you can and can't control, then investing all your energy in your sphere of influence rather than wasting it on your sphere of concern. The emperor faced plagues, wars, and personal losses that would justify a lifetime of complaint. Instead, he developed what modern psychology calls cognitive flexibility, the ability to adapt your mental approach to match reality rather than demanding reality adapt to your preferences. Consider your most frequent complaints. How much mental and emotional energy do they consume? What could you accomplish if you redirected that energy towards solutions or acceptance? Marcus wrote, waste no more time arguing what a good person should be. Be one. This wisdom applies to all of life. Waste no more time arguing how life should be. Live skillfully with life as it is. The practice is simple but profound. When you notice yourself complaining, pause and ask, can I change this situation? If yes, what's my next action? If no, how can I change my relationship to it? This question transforms victims into agents and complainers into creators. Remember that very little disturbs the wise person, for they are not looking elsewhere for their contentment, but finding it in themselves and their circumstances. Marcus Aurelius discovered something that modern research confirms. Happiness isn't a place you reach, it's a skill you develop. The emperor could have lived anywhere in his vast empire, yet he found peace in military camps, dusty frontiers, and plague-ridden cities. How? He learned that contentment comes not from perfect external conditions, but from perfect internal adaptation. We spend enormous energy trying to optimize our environment, the perfect home, neighborhood, city, or country. Yet studies show that people adapt quickly to new locations, returning to their baseline happiness levels within months. This suggests that most of our contentment comes from internal rather than external factors. Marcus practiced what he called the discipline of desire, wanting what you have rather than having what you want. This isn't about lowering standards or abandoning ambition. It's about finding genuine appreciation for your current circumstances while working toward improvement. Look around your current space with fresh eyes. What would someone from a century ago think about your access to clean water, electricity, heating, cooling, and instant communication with people around the world? What would someone from a poorer country think about your opportunities and freedoms? The emperor wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." This isn't minimalist philosophy. It's recognition that once basic needs are met, additional happiness comes from internal development rather than external acquisition. Practice the gratitude inventory. Regularly list what you have that you once desperately wanted. Your current problems were once distant dreams. Your current standard of living exceeds that of ancient royalty in many measurable ways. Marcus proved that even emperors must learn to be content. If unlimited external resources didn't satisfy him, they won't satisfy you either. But the skills he developed for internal contentment are available to everyone. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Marcus Aurelius understood something profound about human nature. The highest form of strength is the ability to maintain your values regardless of how others treat you. The emperor could have crushed his enemies, humiliated his critics, and punished those who opposed him. Instead, he chose a more powerful response. He continued serving the common good, even when individuals failed to appreciate or reciprocate his efforts. This approach mystifies people who think power means forcing others to respect you. But Marcus discovered that true power means maintaining your integrity independent of others' actions. It's the difference between reactive and creative living. When someone treats you poorly, you have two choices: descend to their level or rise above it. The emperor consistently chose elevation, not because he was weak, but because he was strong enough to maintain his standards regardless of provocation. This practice transforms relationships. Instead of matching energy, responding to rudeness with rudeness, criticism with criticism, you maintain your values independent of others' behavior. This often confuses and disarms difficult people while preserving your inner peace. Marcus wrote, "How much trouble he avoids who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does." This isn't about ignoring others' needs, it's about not allowing their dysfunction to infect your character. The most powerful people you know likely practice this principle. They don't waste energy trying to control others' behavior. They invest that energy in consistent, values-based action, regardless of external responses. Try this experiment. For 1 week, maintain your standards, regardless of how others treat you. Be kind to unkind people. Be professional with unprofessional people. Be honest with dishonest people. Notice how this affects both your inner state and others' eventual responses. Marcus proved that the ultimate victory isn't defeating your enemies, it's remaining yourself regardless of their actions. Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not. Remember that what you now have was once among the things you only hoped for. These words from Marcus Aurelius reveal the secret to wealth that no amount of money can provide. Genuine appreciation for what already exists in your life. The emperor possessed unlimited material resources, yet he understood that gratitude, not acquisition, creates abundance. He practiced daily appreciation, not as a feel-good exercise, but as recognition of reality. He was extraordinarily blessed, and forgetting this blessing would make him poor regardless of his wealth. Modern consumer culture programs us to focus on what we lack. Every advertisement, every social media feed, every comparison with others highlights gaps rather than gifts. This creates a chronic sense of deficiency that no amount of success can fill. Marcus developed what modern psychology calls hedonic adaptation prevention, the practice of regularly recognizing how good you have it. He would imagine losing his health, his family, his position, even his basic freedoms, then return to reality with fresh appreciation. This isn't about settling for mediocrity or abandoning goals. It's about building from a foundation of gratitude rather than resentment. When you appreciate what you have, you make better decisions about what to pursue next. Gratitude creates clarity about what actually matters versus what culture tells you should matter. The emperor wrote, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." This balance, appreciating blessings while holding them lightly, creates both satisfaction and motivation. You can work for improvement from contentment rather than desperation. Practice the gratitude reversal. Instead of listing what you want, list what you have that you would desperately miss if it were gone. Your ability to read these words, your next breath, the people who love you. Your freedom to choose your thoughts and actions. Marcus discovered that abundance isn't having everything you want. It's appreciating everything you have while working skillfully toward what matters most. This perspective made the richest man in the ancient world feel genuinely wealthy in ways that transcended material possession. Marcus Aurelius proved something remarkable. In a world of chaos, betrayal, loss, and uncertainty, unshakable inner peace is not only possible, it's practical. The emperor's wisdom wasn't developed in comfortable isolation, but forged in the fires of real responsibility and genuine hardship. These aren't pretty philosophical concepts to admire from a distance. They're proven tools that transformed how history's most powerful leader handled power, adversity, relationships, and mortality. If they worked for him, they can work for you. The beautiful truth about Marcus's teachings is their accessibility. You don't need an empire to practice self-focus. You don't need perfect circumstances to choose your interpretations. You don't need unlimited time to prioritize the essential. You don't need to be fearless to acknowledge mortality. You don't need to be naturally strong to build inner resilience. You just need to begin where you are, with what you have right now. Start with one principle that resonates most strongly. Practice it for a week. Notice how it changes not just your external results, but your internal experience. Then, add another. Build your philosophical foundation one day, one choice, one response at a time. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations as personal reminders, never intending them for publication. Yet, his private thoughts became public treasure because they work. They transform ordinary people into extraordinary examples of human potential. The emperor's final gift to you is this recognition. You already possess everything needed for unshakable inner peace. Not someday, when conditions improve or challenges disappear, but today, in the midst of your current circumstances. The question isn't whether these principles work. Marcus proved they do. The question is whether you'll apply them. Your future self is waiting to thank you for starting today. If this resonated with you and you're ready to build unshakable inner peace using timeless wisdom, subscribe for more videos that transform ancient philosophy into modern strength. Hit that notification bell so you never miss practical wisdom that actually works. And share this with someone who needs to discover their own inner emperor. The meditations that changed an emperor's life are waiting to change yours. The only question is, will you let them?